Hello and welcome to Doing Business in Rwanda. My name is Michael Mjisha. Now, on this particular episode, we look at motorcycle assembly in the country. Rwanda has been known to having a market demand of close to 10,000 motorbikes annually. Now, this is close to 15 billion Rwandan francs moving out of the country if we put in a perspective that one motorcycle is worth 1,500,000 Rwandan francs. Now, this is yet to see a change because one motorcycle company is setting up in Rwanda and planning to produce more and more motorbikes in the country. This is what we're looking at on this particular episode, but more and more building up in the background. This is Doing Business in Rwanda.
According to the World Bank's 2018 Doing Business report, Rwanda maintained second place to do business in Africa. This is most on the back of ease in registering property, dealing with construction permits, enforcing contracts, paying contracts, to mention but a few. Ultimately, it has seen a significant number of businesses open up in the country, and one of them is Rwanda Motorcycle Company. On this episode, we find out why the company set up shop in Rwanda.
I get asked the same question in the United States when I'm talking to investors. And it started a couple years ago. I have another company in the US where I build robots and do automation. And we'd like to take some more profit and donate to humanitarian causes. And we were working with two charities in Rwanda, run by Rwandans, owned by Rwandans, started by them. And we were just helping support them. And one of them asked me to come over, and I kept putting it off, and finally said, okay, I'm gonna come to Rwanda. And when I came, I got to work on their fish farm, do some automation on it. It was a great time. I'm also a motorcycle guy though, and so I paid a motor taxi driver to let me drive the moto. And I realized this is the wrong bike for here. And I looked around and there was very little competition. And having worked internationally, I realized you can get very good products at a good price. And then the idea came almost all at once, that we can build this thing, we can build a better bike and make it cheaper. At first it was, you're crazy. And then it moved to, okay, this could happen, to now people are realizing once they see this, they see it is happening. And now it's really easy to get people to come on board. So a lot of times the reaction we get from people is, I can't believe that is this cost and it's made in Rwanda. Like last night I was driving back from the press conference for the tour to Rwanda. And I was in the intersection waiting to go across, and there's motor taxis around me. And one of them started to talk to me. And he couldn't believe that this was made in Rwanda. I said, yeah, Rwanda Motorcycle Company. And he said, here, in Kigali. I said, yes. And so the thing is, a lot of people don't know yet. As we were building up and getting everything started, not a lot of people know. But now that we're here and established, now we want people to know about it.
Household names in the motorcycle industry have a one-shoe-fit-all policy, which most of the time does not factor the weather conditions, terrain, and roads in third world countries. However, RMC has a plan for this exact issue.
We're a smaller company that can respond quickly. So if the market demands a certain feature or a certain motorcycle, we will make that. Where if you're a large company from India or Japan, Rwanda and East Africa, even as a whole, is a very small part of your market, and you're not likely to change your product just for what they need here. And where Rwanda is our market and we will be exporting, so East Africa and what Rwandans want, very important to us. Typically with a company from India or Japan, they're going to give you a model that they've made for India or Japan and just say this is what is available, and that's it. Here you have different challenges. You need bikes that can go both off-road and on-road. Like there's nice roads in Kigali and between major cities, but then you get in the village, you're off-road quite a bit. So you need a dual sport motorcycle that's built for that terrain. Then you have challenges like altitude. So when a motorcycle leaves our factory and our dealership, it's tuned for the right altitude in Rwanda right here.
And we tune the bikes for Rwanda. So that's very important, that the altitude here, the temperatures that you have here, the humidity that we have here is a little unique. It's not where they're built in India or China or Japan. It's very different than those places. So we can tune the bike for this environment here. So by doing that, we're able to get, on our Nziza model, we're able to get 60 kilometers for 1 liter of fuel. So in Rwanda, that's about 1,000 francs. So that you can go 60 kilometers on 1,000 francs.
The Rwanda Motorcycle Company facility in the Kigali Special Economic Zone has a capacity of producing 100 to 200 motorcycles per month and aims at expanding once the market peaks to over 1,500 motorcycles and sourcing most of its parts locally.
Yeah, our production is really based on the demand that the market has. So our production right now, it's about 100 per month, roughly, but it can scale up quickly to meet what we need. So we're 100, but then we're going to scale up more than that. So as we get more sales, it's going to ramp up pretty quickly. Like we would be comfortably able to make 15,000 per year in this facility.
We're looking to do 1,200 to 1,500 per month. So that's actually quite a few. You know, you get a container, has like 160-ish in a container. Depends on the model and how many spare parts you put in there. But yeah, so that's a lot of logistics, just getting all of those containers here. So we'll need to expand to get there. But
we're assembling right now. We're getting most parts from overseas, but as we can, we're going to start replacing those parts with locally made parts. Right now, there's nobody making engines in East Africa. If there was, we would be using those. And so like there's a steel company here in Rwanda, so we want to start making handlebars and things like that. So we're starting incrementally importing things, but then making as much as we can locally.
The ultimate goal is creating more jobs, but you can't create jobs lacking skilled personnel to take on the tasks. So how is this being handled?
It's interesting because as far as job creation, the numbers, there's the factory workers here, but there's follow-on work after that. There's the dealerships, there's the service, because we're going to put dealerships in different parts of Rwanda, and there's service work there, but there's also follow-on work. There's fuel, there's parts, there's a whole bunch that's created as after the factory.
there's a lot of street moto mechanics here in Rwanda, but there's not very many what I would call like factory moto mechanics. So someone that can build a moto to a factory spec that you would want if you were to buy a brand new one, that's how you would want it. So we've hired myself as an engineer, and also we have another gentleman from Canada with an aviation background actually. So he's bringing those skills here and teaching the local technicians how to, you can't just put it together any old way. Yes, it'll work, but it needs to be a specific way. Because when you buy it from the factory, you want all of them to be the same. You want all of them to be high quality.
They introduced a technique of teaching us new skills and sharpening those we already had in an effort to produce high-quality products. And there is a plan to teach us more.
We're trying to do every 2 weeks, we do a class on different things. So for a couple hours every 2 weeks, we bring all the technicians together and just do a class on something, whether it's like how the carburetor works or how to set up the moto for the customer or whatever type of thing we're trying to do. So skills development is very important for us here.
The Rwanda Motorcycle Company has a variety of motorcycle brands assembled in the country, ranging between 5 to 6. These take different expertise and time to put the parts together, and test runs ensure quality.
Indakangwa ni moto zo nini dufitemo hano ushobora gufunga moto imwe.
Indakangwa is the biggest motorcycle we have here. You can assemble from 1 and 1.5 per day, according to your speed and availability of the tools and parts. So in a month, that's close to 160 motorcycles for every 4 people. We also have smaller motorcycles like the Imparanje, Ingenzi, and Inziza. According to their shape, you can assemble up to 3 or 4 Imparanje per day, with odds of up to 90 motorcycles per month per person, and over 200 plus for every 4 people. For the Inziza, 125 motorcycles. They are also small in size, and one can assemble up to 2.5 per day, which makes them 60 motorcycles per month per person. It often changes due to the technician's speed, and after assembling each bike, we test them and check if they are ready or if we need to go over some things over again, so as to put high-quality products on the market.
akanayisuzuma umuntu akongera nkayisubiramo kugira ngo ndebe ko moto yarangiye neza.
Rwanda's terrain is somewhat rough and hilly. A motorcycle would need to have a powerful engine, but also keeping in mind the maintenance and fuel consumption.
So we went out in the marketplace and we saw that the CG engine is much more durable than an overhead cam engine. So we chose that to be our base model for Africa. We want more robust, right? You want more reliable, less parts to fail. So the reliability is a big part for us. And also we've gone with our motor taxi, the Nziza version, we went with a balanced engine, so it's much smoother. So it'll be a nicer ride, less vibration, means the rest of your motorcycle won't fall apart.
The good thing about this Nziza motorcycle that I use for work, like most motorcycles, it has 5 gears, but only uses 2 of them here in Kigali. It uses the 4th and the 5th gears, and I don't have to use the other 3 gears at all. The other reason is about consumption. It runs 65 kilometers on just 1 liter of petrol, which makes it different from my last motorcycle, which would consume 1 liter for every 45 kilometers. What we loved about these motorcycles is that they're good with our Maram roads in the rural areas. The engine is far to the front, so it can't lift the motorcycle, however powerful it might be. And just to mention, we have a 1-year guarantee, which entails free service of the motorcycle. Not forgetting, these motorcycles being assembled here in Rwanda. That makes it easy for maintenance given the spare parts are available. However, we'd like it if these services were available nationwide. That way, we wouldn't have to travel all the way to Kigali for the checkups and maintenance.
So we're going to have dealerships all throughout Rwanda, and then we will have our own service centers at those dealerships. So people will be able to get their bike fixed wherever they are in Rwanda. But the simplicity of the engine is really what's, to us, one of the key points.
That's pretty much where we leave it on this episode of Doing Business in Rwanda, with the motorcycle industry growing as far as 20,000 motorcycles to be produced by the end of 2018. This means that Rwanda now can produce more motorcycles also to serve the markets in Eastern Africa. This is where we leave it. Now, if you have any feedback to our Doing Business in Rwanda episode, you can send us an email to dbir@abn360.com or send us a tweet to DBI Rwanda. My name is Michael Mjisha. Now, from the entire Doing Business in Rwanda team, thank you very much for watching.